and we're rolling. A glorious Monday morning to you all, or a glorious whatever place and time and space you come across this. This is Jay Balvale bringing you the final installment of Samatvam, the yoga of equanimity. Just going to make sure the sound is good, then we'll go ahead and get started. I hope you're all ready for a wonderful week, at least if that's what nature has in store for you. Nice. Sound is great. Or I hope you're ready for a crappy week if that's what nature has in store for you. Either way, quit resisting. Let's get our music playing. And we can just jump right in it. All right, that should about do it. Cool. So we got through chapters 12 to 15 yesterday. So today we'll finish up 16 through 19. We've really been cruising, and that's good. Stay busy. What else are you doing anyway? Looking at reels? Filling your mind with a bunch of trash? Well, this isn't trash, that's for sure. Hey, it's your life to live, not mine. If that's what you want to do with your time here on this precious planet Earth, well, that's up to you, really. Do as thou wilt. Okay, so let's get it popping. Welcome in for those of you who are coming in. Always great to have you here. So, chapter 16, contentment, faith, and equanimity. Every spiritual aspirant needs to cultivate contentment of the highest order, for without it, there is no possibility of holding the mind in a state of equanimity. Noble VST, or maybe Noble 3 VST. Welcome in. No, you have a question. What's your question? Go ahead. I may or may not be able to answer it. The sadhaka will need to establish a state of constant equilibrium and stillness by a deliberate and powerful resolve, or sankalpa, meditation, and by any other means available. The aim is to attain a state of perfect calm and serenity, no matter what happens in the external environment. The aim is not merely to acquire the ability to quell mental disturbance when it arises, but the rarer power to prevent any disturbance from taking place at all. Once a disturbance has been allowed to occur, it takes far more energy to overcome it completely. Even if outwardly it disappears quickly, the inner subconscious disturbance persists for a long time. WVT, welcome in. Yeah, this one is really great. I'm glad you've been enjoying it. Hopefully, you went ahead and decided to pick up a copy for yourself. So, Noble VST says, so you know, as I know, space is talked about in the Bible, but why not solar systems, planets, or galaxies? But I want to know why it's not talked about in the Bibles. Well, I'm no Bible scholar, so you might want to find one of those to answer your question. To reach a state of equanimity, the aspirant needs to develop an extremely positive and dynamic state of mind, which has nothing in common with a negative mentality based on laziness and lack of initiative. It is based on perfect indifference to all personal enjoyment, comfort, and other considerations that sway humanity. Its object is attainment of that peace which takes one completely beyond the realm of illusion, misery, and entanglement in worldly life. Noble VST says, I have nobody answered. LOL. Thank you though. You're welcome. Yeah, man, there's definitely Bible scholars out there that are going to be just so much more equipped to answer that question and with all the appropriate data to back it up. I'm not that guy. One may experience vairagya, one may believe in a higher reality, and one may practice a range of sadhanas. But unless one can develop a faith so strong that it does not tremble in the face of any storm whatsoever, one's commitment to yoga, sadhana, will remain conditional and not culminate in samatvam. Habitual behaviors developed through untold lifetimes cannot be transformed all of a sudden. Just plan and do things in an efficient and regular manner. Thinking and reasoning differ from worrying and troubling the mind. Think and decide. Do not worry and tax the mind. Efficiency, intelligence, and interest need to be neither eliminated nor even minimized. A faith that does not tremble. The secret of your success is that you have dedicated yourself. The reason for the failure of worldly people is that they are like logs of wood, tossed hither and thither amidst a great ocean of problems. Do you ever wonder at the temporary do you ever wonder at the temporary vairagya which people develop for some time and which fades away very soon? It is because there is no one to help them maintain spiritual equilibrium. It is a lesson to be learned, not a matter of pity. This is how the mind behaves until it has surrendered and been cast into a pattern of tranquility. One should have living faith in higher things. One then only then can one maintain a higher degree of contentment. This is what Lord Krishna meant in the Bhagavad Gita when he said, when the perfectly controlled mind rests in the self only, free from longing for all the objects of desires, then it is said, he is harmonized or balanced. Kevin Vastola 933. Welcome in. Kevin Vastola 933 says, who scribbled this nonsense? No such thing as a god or a freaking book that talks about him. It's all man made. Well, maybe there's your Bible scholar right there. He seems to be a real expert on God. Everything is possible for a person who has faith, even for one whose mind has been completely shattered by the events of his life. A person with faith has very strong conviction, and questions do not arise in his mind. Yet, a faithless person, a person who has doubts in his mind, has no way out. You hear that, Kevin Astola? One who lives in the world without a relationship with God is always in distress and without peace of mind, however much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement. Uh-oh, Kevin Astola. Blade G2M, bless you, says hi. Hi, Blade G2M, welcome in. And once you're goddess, good morning to you. Always a pleasure to have you here. Therefore, always be wary of your mind, which is trying to drag you away. Do not worry about what others say or whether the world approves of you or not, and do not care for recognition or strive to be seen as important. A real devotee never murmurs, complains, or grumbles over the past or present. He is able to maintain a perfect sense of balance no matter what he faces because he has seen the divine essence that supports and upholds him everywhere. Whenever a devotee falls into difficulty, he thinks it is the Lord's grace, and therefore he is always calm, quiet, and patient despite many stressful conditions. He does not attach much importance to the body because he knows that he is not the material body. Therefore, he is freed from the conception of false ego and is equipoised in both happiness and distress. He is tolerant and satisfied with whatever comes by the grace of God. His determination has allowed him to control his senses, to fix his awareness on his spiritual goal, and never to be swayed from devotional service. He has achieved this state of being through steadfastness in sadhana. Welcome in, everybody, just coming in. Glad to have you here. The contentment of a parabhakta, a supreme devotee, does not necessarily dawn after all his cravings have been fulfilled. Rather, it is an outcome of his realization that worldly objects and events can never gratify the senses. He lives by the will of God and is thus forever content. Peace is a quality of the soul because true or everlasting peace emanates from the soul. One who is in tune with the soul has inner peace. One who only lives by pure faith can live so freely, contented with whatever comes his way. Such a person has no worries. His mind is equipoised. He rests in the self, forever peaceful. He has attained the yoga of equanimity described by Lord Krishna. With the self unattached to external contacts, one finds happiness in the self. With the self engaged in meditation on Brahman, one attains endless happiness. Peace is a quality of the soul because true or everlasting peace emanates from the soul. All right. And that does it for chapter 16. On to chapter 17. Take a quick drink and we'll go ahead. All right. Chapter 17, harmonizing the mind. Unless you are your own master, you cannot enjoy the state of equanimity. You are enslaved by your own mind, easily swayed by emotions and passions, anger and worries, unable to endure pain and sorrow, easily frustrated by difficulties, and unable to rule your thoughts or command your actions. You will have to reverse this situation and attain mastery over the mind. By following the path of yoga, you learn how to defeat inner enemies and achieve equanimity. Only then will you become a true yogi. In the world today, we have everything for experiencing and enjoying life, but we do not have a healthy, stable mind, a free mind, a mind with illumination and knowledge. Our external culture is highly developed, but the participants in that culture have very weak and dissipating minds. That is the main reason why people are suffering. If you honestly and impartially analyze the whole of your life, you will come to the conclusion that you have been suffering because you have not balanced your mind. Peace of mind is most important if you want to get the most out of life, either sensual or spiritual. Think of the mind as your best friend. If you misbehave with the mind, it will create many problems. The mind is a magician. Ooh, who is the magician? The mind. Because from the mind are born what? The five elements, right? What do we see on the workbench of the magician in the tarot? The four elements, but the hidden fifth is the magician himself. That's your spirit aspect right there. 1 minute it can create neurosis. In the next minute, hallucinations, nervous breakdown, phobias, and the desire to commit suicide. Yeah, there's what's the word? I think it's apophenia, where you start to make all the false connections. And so you see that a lot in spiritual people as well, where everybody thinks they're getting all these downloads and profound truths and connecting all these dots, but they're just experiencing, I'm pretty certain it's apophenia is the word. Maybe if one of you wouldn't mind looking that up and confirming it for me. The Bhagavad Gita says that the mind is your friend and also your enemy. If you learn to observe and control the mind, it will become your best friend. But if you have no understanding or control over the mind, it will be your worst enemy. Huh, so there are enemies after all. Defining the mind. Emotion, thinking, memory, feeling, reasoning, all these feelings with which you identify the mind are not the total definition of the mind. The mind is a homogeneous entity, an ocean of awareness, not a thinking apparatus or a bundle of habits. The mind is homogeneity of consciousness. According to Maharishi Patanjali, that which is mistaken for the mind is simply a vritti, a pattern, ripple, or modification, not the real consciousness. An emotion is not consciousness, nor is a memory of the past or an anxiety about the future. All these feelings with which we experience during sadhana or at any other time are not chitta, consciousness or mind, but the vrittis or modifications of the mind. When we sit for meditation practice, it is not the consciousness or the mind which we are withdrawing, but the modifications, patterns, and structures of consciousness so as to make the mind steady. In the practice of dhyana yoga, these vrittis or modifications of the mind are to be withdrawn or stopped. But in order to stop them, we have to know exactly what they are composed of. Patanjali's Yoga Sutras states that the vrittis are fivefold: right knowledge, pramana; wrong knowledge, viparyaya; fancy or imagination, vikalpa; sleep, nidra; and memory, smriti. Withdraw these ripples from the surface of the mind, and then what remains is Shakti. This Shakti is perceived on two planes. One is Apara Shakti, energy which has been liberated from matter. The other is Atma Shakti, energy liberated from the mind. This is the ultimate essence of man. Yes, because Shakti means energy. So you have Apara Shakti, energy which has been liberated from matter, and Atma Shakti, energy liberated from the mind. Man is miserable because he has been unable to perceive or achieve this Atma Shakti, and his mind is unable to achieve a state of equipoise. Even if one is absolutely, selflessly dedicated to one's work, stability of mind will not be achieved unless some time is spent every day in the practice of dhyana yoga. The mind has to be taken from outside, where it is wandering here and there among the sense objects of the world, the temporary things that are so nice in the beginning and so bad in the end, and directed inside to Atma Shakti, where the innermost part of the personality is full of illumination, knowledge, and peace. Just sit in a quiet room and forget your accomplishments, failures, personality, social status, and happiness or lack of it. After some time, you will be able to understand the language of the mind, not the outer mind, but the inner mind. the part of the mind that has a much greater control over our lives. By following the process of dhyana yoga, concentration on a particular point, a process of balancing the mind is achieved. It is a process of fusion. When you sit for meditation, each thought or emotion that arises is the form of the mind and you are withdrawing it. So we have a very distinct definition of dhyana yoga. The Raja Yoga of Maharishi Patanjali says to withdraw the mind, concentrate the mind, and then focus the whole awareness at just one point. However, if you start practicing meditation directly on an object, you will have to do a lot of fighting with the mind, which may result in tension and difficulties. First of all, try to purify the nervousness, dejection, and negative attitudes of the mind. Only afterwards, when you have become free from the fruits of your karma, when the karmas do not bind or affect you, when you remain untainted by your own karmas or actions, should you start meditation. Influence of the gunas. Initially, when one tries to concentrate, the mind does not cooperate. The mind is composed of three gunas, sattva, rajas, and tamas. Those who are tamasic become lazy and fall asleep when they concentrate. Those who are rajasic by nature are not able to concentrate because the mind gallops in all directions like a wild horse. Those who are sattvic by nature are able to concentrate on the object fixed by them for some time. But then they get visions or psychic experiences which invariably disturb them. First of all, find out to which particular nature you belong. In predominantly Tamasic people, the practice of meditation should be preceded by the practice of bhakti yoga and hatha yoga. Those who are predominantly Rajasic by nature should not try to control the mind by force because it will only create a split in the personality. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita, whenever this unsteady and restless mind goes out, bring it back. However, that is not possible for most of us. If we try to concentrate our mind, we will create conflict and mental chaos. Most people have to face this problem, but it can be overcome by practicing with patience and perseverance. Methods of harmonizing the mind. Maharishi Patanjali's method of yoga includes a wide range of techniques that slowly harmonize the mind and gradually induce more subtle perception, so that success in meditation practice can eventually be attained. In the Yoga Sutras, he recommends different techniques to cater for individual temperaments, so that the mind stuff can be brought into a state of peace and equilibrium. The main path of his system is contained in eight fundamental stages. The first five are the preparatory stages, or external practices of yoga: yama, social code; niyama, personal code; asana, sitting pose; pranayama, control of prana; and pratyahara, sense withdrawal. These five stages progressively prepare the body mind for the last three stages: dharana, concentration; dhyana, meditation; and samadhi, superconsciousness. The stages up to pratyahara gradually remove external distractions, whilst the more advanced practices from dharana onwards eradicate inner disturbances from the thoughts and psychic manifestations, so that the mind becomes steady and awakened to transcendental dimensions. These last three stages are the internal practices of yoga and can only be practiced successfully after mastering the earlier preparatory stages. And that's something we're going to learn more um, through a little bit more of a Western lens from Uncle Al when we do the next Liber I'm going to read, Liber E. We might get to that tonight. But if not, sometime, some evening this week, we definitely will. We'll just have to see how it goes. Yama and Niyama. The yamas are designed to harmonize one's social interactions, and the niyamas are intended to harmonize one's inner feelings. All the yamas and niyamas are designed to reduce friction between the outer and inner attitudes. There is a two-way relationship. The mind stimulates external actions, and external actions stimulate the mind. If the external actions are not harmonious, then the mind will be disturbed. Conversely, a disturbed mind will tend to produce disharmonious acts. It is a vicious circle where inner turmoil leads to outer turmoil, and where in turn external turmoil leads to further inner turmoil. The yamas and niyamas aim to break this vicious circle and thereby calm the mind by adopting sensible actions and attitudes towards oneself and one's surroundings. The five yamas are satya, truthfulness; ahimsa, nonviolence; asteya, honesty; brahmacharya, sensual control or sexual abstinence; and aparigraha, non possessiveness. The five niyamas are shaucha, shaucha, cleanliness; santosha, contentment; tapas, austerity; swadhyaya, self-study; and ishvara pranidhana, surrender to the cosmic will. The yamas and niyamas encompass a wide range of human activity. They tackle the problem of mental disturbance from the outer edge, the periphery, but it is also a start for more profound changes that can arise from deeper exploration of the mind. The rules are not easy to apply, but even limited application will lead to greater peace of mind. Perfect application can only arise with self realization. Asana. Asana is defined by Patanjali as a steady and comfortable sitting position. In theory, it can include many of the asanas of Hatha Yoga, but practically it includes only a few, such as Padmasana and Siddhasana. In Patanjali's yoga, the purpose of asana is to balance the nerves, the nerve impulses, the feelings of pain and pleasure, heat and cold, etc., to remove stress and anxiety, and to develop concentration and balance at the emotional, mental, and psychic levels. Pranayama. By manipulating the flow of breath in the nostrils, using various pranayama techniques of inhalation, exhalation, and retention, the practitioner can establish control over the flow of the vital energy force and thus learn how to calm the mind and control the thought process. At an advanced level, the spiritual seeker requires tranquility of mind as an essential prelude to spiritual practice. And then pranayama can be a practice to concentrate all the pranic forces of the human structure to induce one pointedness of mind. Pratyahara. Pratyahara means to gather inwards. The practice is concerned with checking and curbing the outgoing tendencies of the mind so that awareness can be directed inwards. It is impossible to explore the inner realms of the mind if one is addicted to, disturbed, and distracted by external sense experiences. Highlight that. It is impossible to explore the inner realms of the mind if one is addicted to, disturbed, and distracted by external sense experiences. Therefore, the sense experiences such as sound, smell, sight, touch, and taste are cut. All meditative techniques such as Nada Yoga, Antarmuna, Japa Japa, and Tritaka are initially concerned with inducing this stage of pratyahara. These practices have to be continued for a considerable length of time. In yoga, there is no fighting with the mental impressions. The incoming impressions have to be dealt with gradually and very systematically. At a particular point in this practice, there comes a state of introversion, where one becomes more aware of the inside and less aware of the outside. Inner experiences occur. These experiences are not an indication of spiritual enlightenment, but they prove that the mind is becoming introverted. They are psychic experiences, seeing objects, colors, light, feeling something moving in the mind, feeling something moving in the spinal cord, and so on. When these non empirical experiences start from within, you are ready for the next step in meditation, which is to hold your mind on one object or point. Dharana. Dharana means concentration or one pointedness of mind. It is the step before meditation and is concerned with fixing awareness on one object to the exclusion of all others. If the state of pratyahara has been achieved, then all outer disturbances should have been eliminated. Yet the mind is still full of inner chatter in the form of memories of the past and projections of the future. The mind thinks of and tries to relive past pleasant experiences, is obsessed by unpleasant experiences, or is planning or fearing the future. Therefore, it is constantly unsteady or unbalanced. Do not try to force or suppress the mind. Let it wander in and out if it wants to, but be aware that it is wandering away and bring it back to the practice again and again. In time, it will grow weary of wandering and become steadier. Yep, and it can take a real good amount of work and a lot of patience and practice. That's work, though. Practice work, same thing. Various methods can be used to induce mental one pointedness. Devotional methods try to induce it through rituals, church services, puja or worship, chanting, kirtan, prayer, and so forth. Patanjali's yoga utilizes a psychic symbol as a focal point for internal concentration. It can be one's guru, a deity, a mantra, a sound, a star, the form of a saint, an idea or a feeling, or it may be a gross object. It can be almost anything. It must, however, be something that spontaneously attracts one's attention and must be chosen to suit the inherent nature of the mind and personality. The psychic symbol projected in front of the closed eyes must be so overwhelming that one's whole being is absorbed by it. Otherwise, the psyche will remain scattered and balance of mind will not be possible. During the practice of sense withdrawal and concentration, you have to work out all the perceptions and experiences in the realm of reflections, as well as in the realm of imagination or visionary experiences. If you are not prepared to exhaust the experiences amicably and with pleasure, then you will face them in the subtler form of visionary experiences. These are not spiritual experiences, they are your own samskaras, your own complexes, guilt, pride, pain, and all your pathos coming out. The totality of the vrittis or modifications of consciousness that stick to you life after life and cause mental and emotional imbalances take considerable time to be discharged. It is not just a matter of 2 or 3 months. The process will take many lifetimes. Dharana needs regular and persistent practice for a substantial period of time. In this manner, the symbol or the object of concentration will help your consciousness to crystallize itself. And then, when the symbol becomes clear and vivid in your imagination, the final stage of meditation comes by itself. Gradually, as the mind is harmonized, one will perceive deeper aspects of the symbol. Its archetypal nature will start to reveal itself. One will spontaneously flow into dhyana. Dhyana and samadhi. Dhyana is merely an extension of dharana. It arises when one is able to maintain a smooth, unfluctuating flow of concentration towards the inner symbol for a period of time. The mind becomes balanced as it molds itself around one pattern in the form of the psychic symbol. The flow of awareness is often compared to a smooth flow of oil. Eventually, this leads to an elimination of duality. The seer, seen, and seeing merge into unity, and one's being fuses into the state of samadhi. Samadhi is the state where there is complete absence of both external and internal mental modifications. All that remains is awareness, a state of perfect balance. Samadhi brings self realization. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says, when your mind, perplexed by what you have heard, stands immovable and steady in the self, then you will attain self realization. During the practice of pratyahara, dharana, and dhyana, whatever experiences you come across are nothing but the manifestation of the knowledge acquired by you. It is your mind facing itself, its own mind stuff. Never assume that yoga is trying to suppress the mind. The mind exists on conscious, subconscious, and unconscious levels, and also in the stula, gross dimension, sukshma, subtle dimension, as well as other dimensions. Self awareness functions throughout, and it becomes more and more effulgent and luminous when the forms, patterns, and modifications that are being identified with the structure of consciousness are withdrawn. Yoga means equanimity of mind, and this is achieved by control over the patterns or modifications of the mind, but not over the consciousness or the mind itself. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Cheetah shooty. Cheetah shooty. Oh, nice. In Patanjali's yoga system, cleansing all the mind stuff takes first priority. However, during the practice of pratyahara and dharana, when many impressions come up from the depths of consciousness, you try to resist them and push them back down. Whenever a thought comes into your mind, you refuse to recognize it. And so, because of preconceived fixed moralities and conditioning, you are unable to face your mind. You have developed your own philosophy of Puritanism, which categorizes thoughts or mental impressions into a good and bad. Yet it is necessary to see these thoughts also. Thousands of patterns of experiences, unworked karmas, suppressed emotions, and everything else in the mind stuff, desirable and undesirable, necessary and unnecessary, horrible and wonderful, must come out. There is no other way to achieve equanimity. Well, what has Jay been saying? Quit resisting. It's easier said than done. But you can do it, especially if you're here tapping in on this. Then you definitely are somebody equipped to do it. Chitta Shuddhi, purification of the mind, is not necessarily a pleasant or sweet process, but it is definitely a beneficial one. Through purification, the mind becomes effulgent, and you are able to perceive your true nature, which is serene and peaceful. In Chitta Shuddhi, the same type of process should occur whenever you purify the body of its foul waste matter. Naturally, there is a horrible smell, but unpleasant as it is necessary in the process of purifying the body. In the same manner, when purification of consciousness or chitta is taking place, these foul experiences also have to be faced. If you are not prepared for them, then forget Raja Yoga and all other yogas. No matter which yoga you practice, the toxic matter of life is going to come out. It is part of the process of Samatvam. And you can just go ahead and swap in and out that word yoga with magic as well, if you're more focused on Western magic. That toxic matter is going to come out. Oh yeah, it's going to pop up. Anybody who tried to tell you that this is I don't know, easy or like a path to bliss, well, I mean, at the end of it all, yeah, but you got to go through the journey first, and that's often a real process of getting down in the trenches. Associated yoga techniques. The Yoga Sutras of Patanjali are well known, yet the 8 steps are really advanced techniques for people who have exhausted most of their mental problems and conflicts. They are not really for the average person because they ask people to restrain their thoughts. For most people who have disturbed minds, this would do more harm than good. It is only when the fluctuations of the mind are considerably fewer that one can restrain the thoughts and proceed along the path of Raja Yoga. One can easily crush and destroy small cockroaches that disturb the cleanliness of a yard, but it is much more difficult to tame a wild elephant. It is definitely not advisable to suppress the compelling thoughts and desires that still exist in the mind of the average person. The basic rules of yama and niyama are also very difficult for the average person. These rules are really for people who have exhausted most of their samskaras and karmas, mental turmoil, and desires. For example, if most people try to practice sexual abstinence, they will become neurotic. It can only be practiced by those who have worked out most of their desires and have already purified their mind through hatha yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, and general meditative techniques that involve awareness more than concentration. The path of yoga formulated by Patanjali is not confined only to the 8 stages. It is an integrated system that brings in many other yogic practices. One can also practice some of the associated techniques that Patanjali suggests in the Yoga Sutras. These methods will prepare one for the practice of the 8 steps and to meet the guru who can teach them personally. Patanjali suggests a wide range of techniques which help to harmonize one's mind and life. However, his explanations and descriptions of the techniques are very brief and terse, and it is very easy to miss the significance of Patanjali's statements without the expert guidance of a guru. Only a guru who has intimate knowledge and personal experience of yoga can point out the hidden implications behind many of the obscure verses in the Yoga Sutras. For example, verses 132 to 39 describe the basis of most meditative techniques, including Yoga Nidra, Antarmona, Kechari Mudra, and so on. Mantra or japa yoga is clearly indicated in verses 127 to 29. The aspirant will require clear explanations from an expert master if he is to understand how to proceed in these practices. Maharishi Patanjali knew that the yogic path had to be designed to suit the specific characteristics of an individual. Therefore, he suggests bhakti yoga for those who are emotionally and devotionally inclined. 123, 2:1, 223, 2:45, etc. For those who are intuitive by nature, he recommends Gyan Yoga. He recommends reflection and inquiry into the real meaning of Om 1:27 to 29, and also explains much of Samkhya philosophy 2:20 to 21, etc., as a means to higher realization. He also makes it clear that all mental knowledge is limited. Karma Yoga, for those who are active by nature, is not specifically mentioned, but it is implicit in many verses. For example, the yamas and niyamas imply the practice of karma yoga in daily actions and duties. Karma yoga is also implicit in the verses on bhakti yoga. Patanjali knew that success in bhakti yoga leads automatically to success in raja yoga. Jnana yoga leads to perfection of raja yoga, and so forth. He knew that a person on the path of raja yoga must integrate his whole being, all the negative and limiting functions of the mind, all the petty mindedness and egoism have to be removed if perfect balance is to come about. Stopping the mental modifications or vrittis can be achieved through vairagya, detachment, and abhyasa, yoga practice 112. This statement includes all paths and techniques of yoga. None are excluded. All lead to success in Samatvam yoga. Well, heck yeah. All right. And that does it for chapter 17. And that's pretty sure that's like the longest one of the ones we're going to do today. So I'll take me a nice quick drink. Much love to those of you who have been hanging out and rocking with me for this finale session. May you achieve yoga in this life. '18. Atmabhava. If you seek peace of mind for yourself only, it will not come because all around you there are problems, anxieties, and restlessness. Everyone is unhappy. Excuse me. Mothra, what up? Welcome in. Great to have you here. Hope you're having a good Monday morning. Might be afternoon. I don't know what coast you're on, or I'm not even sure what part of the world you're in. For all I know, you're over in Europe or something, and it's like already afternoon, evening for you, or it's like late afternoon, evening for you. But welcome in. Glad to have you, nonetheless. How can you be at peace when the whole world is in turmoil? The whole world is burning, and you are seeking your own peace? First, take care of others, and then take care of yourself. First, take care of their peace and prosperity, and then your own peace and prosperity are guaranteed. Those who are unmoved by the sorrow of others and insensitive to their feelings can never attain peace of mind. Everyone should realize their own flaws and failures and how their misconduct with family members is responsible for the atmosphere of inner disharmony. Nobody has the courage to face themselves as they are. You have never seen an honest reflection of yourself in the mirror. If you look into the mirror carefully, you will see an ugly reflection. You had imagined you were good looking, but the reality is quite different. Uh-oh. You will realize this when you look at your behavior and consider the treatment you mete out to your wife and your children, to your neighbors and to those you work with, and to your pets and other animals. Never mind. If you cannot think about others, if you cannot understand the problems of others, and if you have double standards for yourself and others, you can never attain peace of mind yourself. I'll just say, just pay real close attention to these influencers out here. Just pay real close attention. That's all you really need to do. Atmabhava means feeling on with others. feeling the pain, distress, poverty, sickness, and calamities of others as if it were your own. Spiritual life without compassion is a waste of time. This is the sum and substance of all religions and the message of all the saints. Not to say, look, not to say that you still can't learn and get valuable things and, from a lot of these people out here, but before you go chucking anybody up on a pedestal, just take a good amount of time to pay attention. Extend your horizons. Yoga is a means of stilling the turbulence of the mind, of harnessing the mind and maintaining its resilience. The word yoga means union. Yoga is identifying yourself with the joys and sorrows of everyone, expanding your sense of selfhood, extending your horizons, and rising above the pettiness of life. Identification then ceases to be personal and will win for you peace of mind. For example, if you use your money to help others, seeing no difference between one person and another, then it is a parigraha, equal vision, and an act of selflessness. It is no use developing virtues in the solitary confinement of your own home entirely for your own spiritual progress with no benefit to society as a whole. You cannot allow yourself to be divorced from the reality of those who live around you. Those who are unmoved by the sorrow of others and insensitive to their feelings can never attain peace of mind. Well, dang. So, yoga is union. We know that. But the union of what? Yourself with everyone and everything around you. The joys, sorrows of everyone. Expanding your sense of selfhood, extending your horizons, and rising above the pettiness of life. Let's see. It is no use developing virtues in the solitary confinement of your own home, entirely for your own spiritual progress, with no benefit to society as a whole. Yeah, so here's a little tit, if it, I get that a lot of people anymore kind of do the more loner, introverted thing. I don't, talking about I don't really have friends. Well, go make some and don't be worried about trying to make magic friends or spiritual friends because trust me, once you do, you're gonna realize like this actually kind of sucks. Some of them are cool. Like I've definitely met some people, even here locally where I live, just like a lot of you online, the ones that come in on this stream regularly, who are awesome. You know what I mean? But it's important to have people still that you can associate with in your day-to-day life. Be friendly. At the very least, just go out and just be friendly towards the people you encounter. And don't be afraid to potentially hang out with people. And yeah, don't be worried about, I don't know, talking about spiritual stuff. None of that. Allow yourself to, I don't know, maybe you are somebody who enjoys something like sports. Go watch sports with some friends. Go, I don't know, go to a concert or something with some friends who like to do that kind of thing. Go to a movie, whatever. You know what I mean? Socialize. It's good for you. No need to be afraid of it. It'll do you good. It really will. All right. If you want to attain steady wisdom and a balanced state of mind, you will need to become integrated emotionally with everyone around you. This is the message of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. It is the yoga that Swami Sivananda taught. Swami Sivananda used to tell me to identify myself with the mind of a thief, of a liar, of one who spoke ill of me. His advice was, put yourself in their position and then you will understand them better. Your interactions with them will be peaceful and productive. If you can develop such an attitude, then the divine light of God will descend in meditation, dreams, and the waking state. Yeah, one way I even try to do that is when I go out and about, and you'll just see the different people that you could say society has rejected, the different types of homeless people, whether, they seem to be maybe addicts of some type or another, or just clearly have some type of mental imbalance, whatever. I try to very quickly say, Tatvamasi, thou art that. That's me. That's me. Try to put myself in their shoes temporarily. Um, that real from like what Swami Niranjanananda said about meditation, where it's actually becoming one with that thing you're meditating on. So literally trying to do that with those type of people. Or even like, whatever, you see that bro with the Cookie Monster hat driving his Subaru with the monster stickers on it, whatever. You know what I mean? You see some, I don't know, some chick that just seems like, I don't know, really up her own rear end about thinking she's all that. Top Lamasi, baby. Before you are able to attain peace, to experience Brahman or the Lord, to see the light or experience enlightenment, you must be able to feel the tragedy in another's life. The more distant you are from the suffering of others, the further Brahman will be from you. Yikes. Search for that peace which surpasses all understanding and which embraces every living creature. By taking steps to fulfill the health and prosperity of everyone, by being kind and caring to one another, the highest goal of peace of mind is within your reach. To attain yogic powers is easy, but to understand yoga is very difficult. Unless we make root and branch changes in our traditional concepts of yoga, we cannot fully bring the blessings of this wonderful science to humanity. More distant from the suffering of others, the further Brahman will be from you. To attain yogic powers is easy and a distraction, but to understand yoga is very difficult. All right, and on to the final chapter. 19. Never barter the peace of your soul. Uh oh. Uh oh. All right. 19. Never barter the peace of your soul. I don't know that I'm going to try to read all that Sanskrit. I struggle. I struggle hard enough. So I'll just read the English translation. Peace in heaven, peace in space, peace on earth, peace in the waters. Peace to the herbs, peace to the plants and trees. Peace to the indweller, peace to the creator. Peace to all. Peace, only peace. Peace will give me peace. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Everyone is searching for inner peace. Human beings know the ways of worldly life and can obtain everything they seek in that life. But the most precious thing needed today is inner peace. What is inner peace? Is she a damsel? Is she an idea? Is she an experience? How can peace of mind be found? When we say Om Shanti Shanti Shanti, it is for peace of the total mind, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the unconscious mind, which we do not know. Peace in the conscious mind means peace upon the earth. Peace in the subconscious mind means peace in the skies or beneath the earth. Then there is peace in heaven and peace everywhere. This is the peace that passeth all understanding. It is not the peace of mind where you delude yourself by taking a few tranquilizers and have a good night's sleep, or about the peace you enjoy momentarily when one or two of your desires have been temporarily satisfied. The search for peace, whether we are Hindus, Christians, or Muslims, whether we are rich or poor, men or women, we are all searching for Shanti, peace. Everyone's peace of mind has been hijacked. We feel disturbed. Where has our peace of mind gone? Far, far away is the answer. But where is that far, far away? Has Shanti gone to England? Or has she gone to the Netherlands? Has she gone far, far away to China? Who has kidnapped her? This is the problem we sing about during the chanting of the Ramacharita. The mantras tell of the monkey Hanuman who flies across the ocean to find out where peace has hidden. He finds her lying captive. Sita, the symbol of supreme peace, has been kidnapped by the 10-headed demon Ravana. Everyone wants peace, and this peace is Sita, who has been kidnapped by our 10 senses and kept as a prisoner in Golden Lanka. Our peace has not gone somewhere within us, nor has somebody else disturbed our peace. We alone have disturbed it. We ourselves are responsible. Our peace has vanished because we have become the slave of our 10 senses. We have kidnapped Shanti and become a slave of tensions and worries. This 10-headed monster lives in a palace. 10-headed Ravana lives in a city of gold. And whose is that citadel? Your own body is the citadel where peace of mind has been held captive. It means that you have to search for peace within your own self. Well, spoiler alert. Therefore, the first truth is that you have hijacked peace. Secondly, that peace has to be sought within you, not outside. This is the sum and substance of what people sing about so gladly when they chant the Ramacharita. Inner peace. Inner peace is of utmost importance. It is a pure state of mind. In this state of equanimity, the mind is active and alert, but it does not act as a partner to worldly events. Sleep and lethargy do not represent inner peace. Forgetfulness is not inner peace. Inner peace is not a state of unawareness of external or internal events. Inner peace is far beyond inertia. Proper understanding is inner peace. Having obtained inner peace, one becomes powerful. When one is established in inner peace, nothing can shake the soul. Mothra says 10-headed monster, cliff off. That's what I was thinking. Nice one, Mothra. Although I don't know, depending on who you ask, because a lot of people consider the cliff off to be 11 because they like include Doth as a sphere, but some people do that with the tree as well. Um, I don't know that I consider it a sphere. You know what I mean? I would consider it more, maybe it used to be a sphere or where a sphere was when the tree was in that perfect harmony, but in the fallen state, it is the abyss. You know what I mean? It's an abyss to cross. So, yeah, that's definitely what I was thinking. So, thank you for that contribution. Let's see, I think I was right here on this one. We lose our mental balance because we become partners in the events of life, because we become interested in and attached to everyone and everything we come across. In short, we lose our inner peace when we identify with worldly happenings. The aspirant who is established in equanimity does not allow himself to be influenced by his environment, nor by the effects of his 10 senses, nor by what is agreeable and disagreeable to them. Of course, in order to retain and experience that inner peace, one must have strength. Divine bliss and joy demand inner strength. To experience inner peace, one must prepare the mind. As long as the senses wander amongst sensual objects seeking satisfaction, there will no inner peace. There, pretty sure supposed to be there's a typo there. There will be no inner peace. To attain inner peace, firstly, the mind must be withdrawn from the senses, and secondly, it must be kept united with the highest purpose of existence. Through this inner and outer control, the wisdom of the devotee becomes unwavering and steady, and does not hover between divine and sensual pleasures. When you assert that you are the blissful soul, equipoised in every condition of life, you must live up to your claims. You must realize it. You must experience it. So begin to practice any mantras of your choice without inhibition. It may be Om, Rama, or Gayatri. Combine your mantra with pranayama and bandhas to accelerate the effect. Learn the three stages of pranayama: Puraka, inhalation; Kumbhaka, retention; and Rechaka, exhalation. Practice in a comfortable sitting asana. Siddhasana or Siddha Yoni asana is best followed by Padmasana, Vajrasana, or Swastikasana. Practice bandhas at the time of breath retention. Adjust the mantra with inhalation and exhalation in the ratio of 1 to 2. If you inhale for 1 unit of Gayatri, then you must exhale for 2 units. 5 rounds of this pranayama coupled with bandhas and mantra will give sufficient experience of dhyana. These 15 to 20 minutes every day will go a long way to bringing inner peace and unity into your personality. Inner peace brings equanimity. Inner peace is obtainable through God's grace. Happiness, sorrow, disease, poverty, and suffering are all part of life's experiences. But grace is different. Lord Rama experienced suffering. Lord Krishna passed through suffering. All the saints had to face suffering, and they accepted it, because by doing so, they were able to receive the grace of God. God's grace is the one thing present in every situation. But can you see it? Wherever there is grace, there is inner peace. That is why our rishis and munis always sought to obtain his grace. Man is the most beautiful and privileged creation of God, yet pain and pleasure may come his way. The clouds of calamities may eclipse your inner shrine, but with nothing should you barter the peace of your soul. Peace, contentment, equanimity, and steadiness of mind should be your life. Only one who considers pain and pleasure as passing clouds and is always aware of his goal will be really happy. Whenever you get time, peep within and experience the stillness and silence of your soul. We are all pilgrims here. Spiritual aspirants must know how to maintain equanimity under all circumstances and be able to sustain the contentment and peace inherent in that state of mind. The self, the mind, heart, intentions, and actions can be purified and balanced through karma yoga. This will give peace of mind. Practicing yoga will evolve the consciousness, improve the quality of awareness, and enable you to realize that you are not the body, but something more than that. If the thoughts become calm and quiet, and if you are able to think, decide, and solve the problems of your life with absolute tranquility, that is Samatvam yoga. Side by side with yoga practice divine life, little by little. Practice ahimsa, nonviolence, satya, truthfulness, brahmacharya, celibacy, apigraha, non-possessiveness, asteya, honesty, shaucha, cleanliness, santosha, contentment, and so on. Accept pain and suffering. Do not be afraid of pain. Do not depend on the things of the world as your security in life. Your real security is being able to face everything with a balanced mind. And that does it for Samatvam. Yay. Give yourself a round of applause if you have hung with me for this and you've enjoyed the whole thing. If you didn't, well, hey, maybe next lifetime, maybe many more lifetimes after that. Who knows? Not me. That's for you to find out. But either way, I've really enjoyed reading it to you all and going in on it a bit. I might have done so a little more if I hadn't been hit with that sickness for those few sessions. So it was kind of taking it all out of me just to read. But nonetheless, I think we still drove the point home. And I couldn't do it without all of your support. So thank you. Thank you so much. I mean, I guess I could, but again, I do it for others, just as the Swami say to, right? So do the same in your own ways. Go, I don't know, go give back, go hang out with some people, go, um, I don't know. You'll know what's best. Talk to that HGA. If you haven't made that contact yet, boy oh boy, then what are you doing? I don't know. You do. Prioritize that because then you won't have to fumble around in the dark anymore, wondering, should I do this? Should I do that? This week I'm interested in this. Next week I'm interested in that. Nope. You'll just be so steadfast and on your way towards equanimity, towards yoga. All right, y'all. Well, I'm not going to blabber on much longer. We'll say our goodbyes. So, next book, I really want to do a Kabbalah book. I also kind of want to do a witchcraft book. I also kind of want to read the Tao Te Ching. But you'll know when I jump on here and start reading it. You'll know what I've chosen. And hopefully you'll enjoy it one way or the other. If not, well, then you don't have to be here. But I appreciate you doing so anyway. Get those nuggets of gold, huh? Even in the darkest of places. All right, then. Well, I think that's about it. Oh, and the Crowley thing. Yeah, Liber E, which will be very synchronistic with this because it talks about like those 8 limbs of yoga, the yamas, niyamas, pranayama, etc. So I might jump on tonight and do that. If not, sometime this week, like I said. Book of the Law. I need to make a post. I need to make like a post uh, to announce it in advance because I know a lot of people want to hang for that one. I know people want to like go along with that one. Some people specifically came to this channel because I was saying I was going to do that. So better not disappoint them. And thank you for those who did that. Dub VT says thank you. Just walked to the pantry, got free food and this live reading. Heck yeah, that's awesome. And thank you, Dub, for your support. You're amazing. So much love to you. Mothra, one sure goddess. So much love to you. Thank you for being here. And to the newcomers, Boy G2M, Kevin Vastola, 933, hey, 93, and Noble VST. Thank you. Thank you for popping in. Noble VST, I don't know if you're still rocking with, but yeah, seek out a Bible scholar. I mean, sure, Google and AI can give you some direction, but guess what? There's people out here that went and did a whole lot of schooling and really like know, they know things like Hebrew and Greek and Latin and I mean, I get that an AI can do that as well, but just I don't know, me personally, I prefer to seek that information from a human being and then sometimes and I do both, really, I do both, but I choose to honor the fact that one of my fellow human beings went through all the time and effort and work to obtain such a vast and thorough understanding of something such as the Bible, and they are out here, so seek them out and you might find your answer. And if not, well, hey, thanks for popping in. And that's going to be it. That's it. This has been Jay Baldale. If you're new, be sure to hit a like, share, and subscribe. And much love to you all. See you for the next book. Bye bye.